The September air is brisk against my face, making my tears cold, making me shiver. I don't have a jacket, only my sweatshirt and sweatpants. I didn't have time to pick up any clothes, not even my wallet or phone. Not with Jimmy yanking on my hair, screaming that I'm the most rotten bitch he's ever been around. Jimmy dropped me off at the Greyhound station around midnight. Well, dropped is probably being too nice, more like pushed. He didn't even come to a complete stop, just kept rolling as he pushed me out the passenger door. He threw $20 at me as I fell on the pavement. Before peeling out, he yelled, "Go back to your sister in Cincinnati, bitch!" Me and him got into it big time. He was drunk again. He was drunk every day, but this evening he really wouldn't quit. He yelled for me to get him another beer. I said, "Do it yourself, fat ass." He threw the remote at me. I retaliated with something heavier, and it went from there. Books, spaces, you name it. The room looked like a tornado hit it. Once we had nothing left to throw at each other, we came to blows. He walloped my eye so much that I felt instant swelling. I retorted with a swift kick to his nuts that dropped him to his knees for a good 5 minutes. Hitting his manhood seemed to end the fight. It also proved to be the last straw. When he got up, he said he was done with me, called me a bunch of nasty names and grabbed me by the hair. It hurt so bad. Felt like my hair was being pulled from the roots. I slapped to get him to stop, but he slapped me harder, hard enough that I stopped protesting. Then he dragged me to the car like a caveman. I don't know, maybe it's for the best. Jimmy was getting more and more abusive, and I'm not really sure I loved him anymore. We've been together a few years now, but it seemed like a spiral downward ever since he got laid off. Money got tight, and each day there was some new drama, and I couldn't tell you the last time we had sex either. Fuck Jimmy, that's what I say. I'm fine on my own. Let him find some other woman to service him. Maybe some Walmart skank, since that seems to be what he beats off to. Oh, I've seen him in the bathroom when he doesn't close the door all the way. I know what he likes. Let someone else deal with his drunk dick. My arms stay cold no matter how much I rub them. The tears have stopped, but the frigid midnight autumn air sails through my sweats. I'm not comfortable being at this bus stop in the middle of the night. It's not just nervousness, I'm scared. The moon and its menacing glow, the shadows from the streetlights, the quietness of the road. I'm also alone, standing here waiting. I feel like I'm a target. The only other women out at this time are hookers. I'd say the bus is late, but I don't know the schedule, and I don't have a watch either. I don't even know if this is the right bus stop. I've been standing where Jimmy dumped me, assuming he put me in the right spot. And I've been standing here so long my legs are hurting, so I'm not sure anymore. But I've got no place else to go. I really wish I did, though. I'd rather avoid my sister's place. She's got her own man problems, and they don't have room for me. I'd be a burden, another mouth to feed. Down the road, I see some headlights coming my way. The bus, finally. I guess I'm on my way to Cincinnati, whether I like it or not. As the headlights get closer, I see it's not a bus at all. It's an SUV. I'm not sure of the model, but one of them big ones. All I can tell you is it's black and slowing down. My heart jumps. I knew being out here was bad news. I knew I'd be a target. A woman out in this area at midnight. You're either a hooker or prey. I sure wish I had some pepper spray on me, but I got nothing. The SUV rolls to the curb of the bus stop and the passenger side window rolls down. A man in the driver's seat looks over to me. I think I'm being propositioned. I think he thinks I'm a hooker. He nods at me. I nod back, doing my best to shield my black eye from him. "What's a pretty lady like you doing out at the bus stop at this hour?" he says. I'm expecting some slime ball. Who else goes to hookers? But I get the opposite. Inside the SUV is a sharply dressed man with G.I. Joe features and a gentle smile. Guys like this go to prostitutes? Can't be. He doesn't look like a hooker guy. Maybe he doesn't think I'm one of them ladies of the night. I'm just waiting for my ride, I say truthfully, turning my face to him fully. No sense trying to make up a story. What would I say that sounds credible? And being honest at least lets the guy know I'm not a hooker. You know, just in case he thought I was one. Well, I think you're going to be waiting a while. Buses don't come after midnight. Next bus won't be here till 6:15 a.m., no matter where you're going. Unless you're going uptown, then there's a 5:58 express. How do you know so much? I ask, rubbing my hands together for warmth. I work for the bus company, the man says. Last bus was an hour ago. I'm just off my shift and heading home. Listen, you might as well head home or something. It's not real safe for a woman to be out here in the middle of the night, not alone like this. And you can't stay at this stop all night. If what he said was true, and there's no more buses coming tonight, then he's right. This is no place for a woman. I'll freeze outside too. My only options are basically wandering the street or stay here at this bus stop. Nothing's open at this hour. Nothing but a couple gas stations anyways. The bars are closing soon too, so I couldn't head there. Besides, I don't have a wallet or a phone on me. But I don't want to admit it, not to this man. Another car goes by, creeping slow. This one's a sedan, not an SUV. Inside, I see a man look in my direction, checking me out. He definitely thinks I'm a prostitute. You got somewhere to go, miss? The man in the SUV asks, sensing my unease at being eye candy. I keep quiet, looking to the side, not making eye contact. I wish this guy would just go away. Miss? Miss? Two men turn the corner and walk in my direction. One's carrying a bottle in his hand. They're both a bit stumbly, looking no good. I hear them yelling about some woman named Diane. Makes me think of Jimmy, drunken, violent Jimmy. They sound like him. Miss? The two drunks are closer now. I see Jimmy in their faces. Drunk Jimmy punching my kidneys. Drunk Jimmy kicking my stomach. Drunk Jimmy laughing, saying, "Get up now, bitch." Miss? Oh my God, this is it. First the man in the SUV and now these two. I snap shut my eyes in fear, clutching my chest, waiting for the inevitable. I'm wishing the men away, these men, these violent men. Miss, hey, I don't mean to pry. I don't mean you no harm, comes the voice in the SUV. I only wanted to tell you about the bus schedule and to tell you I don't think it's safe out here downtown for a woman, not by herself, not at this hour anyways. His words snapped me back to reality. The drunks walk by without even noticing me. I'm safe. Miss, it's not right for you out here in the middle of the night. You need to go home. Go somewhere off the street at least. Do you have somewhere to go? I shake my head. Well, can I take you to a friend's house or something? I mean, somewhere off the street? I look down and shake my head again. There's nowhere for me to go. Well, listen, let me take you to a shelter then, the man says. Somewhere for the night so you don't have to be on the street. I don't want to go, but I know what he says is true. It isn't safe for me out here. I can't spend the entire night on the street, at this bus stop, fending off men trying to pick me up. He opens the passenger door and I decide to get in. I shift in my seat. It's uncomfortable being in a stranger's car, especially a strange man in the middle of the night. I try not to think about it. Instead, I tell him, "Thank you for helping me." Without taking his eyes off the road, the man reaches an open hand across the center console to shake my hand. I'm Doug, by the way. Friends call me Dougie. I give a light shake, noticing how big and rough his hands are. They're the hands of a working man, a perfect match for his action figure frame. Thanks, Dougie. We drive in silence. I feel the eyes of the man looking at me. I don't see him doing it, but I feel it. Why did I get in the car with a stranger? Yes, his name's Dougie, but he's a stranger. It doesn't feel right in this SUV. It feels weird being with a man that isn't Jimmy. Maybe I was wrong to have fought with Jimmy like I did, throwing things at him. Maybe I deserved to get kicked to the curb like I did. The man, Dougie, looks my way. So, how'd you end up at the bus stop, if you don't mind me asking? I did, but I didn't want to be rude. The man was trying to help me after all. I stare off through the passenger window, collecting my thoughts. The buildings sparkle in the pale glow of the moon. High-pressure sodium streetlights spotlight manhole grates. A young couple holds their hands while exiting a bar. They look happy, maybe even excited about the rest of their evening. It was once like that with me and Jimmy. We were happy once. We didn't always yell and fight. I sighed. Fight with my boyfriend, I confess. I'm on my way to see my sister in Cincinnati. Dougie nods his head. I kind of figured, seeing your eye. I'm sorry for what happened. We get a lot of women like you taking the bus. The ones kicked out, I mean. Say, is your sister expecting you? I mean, I'm not getting in trouble by taking you to a shelter for the night, am I? I wish my sister was expecting me. I wish someone wanted me. No, I say, it's fine. I go back to looking at reflections in the window. I can feel myself getting sleepy as the world goes by. It's been a hell of an evening. My body needs rest. I need a bed. A few more miles go by and I notice the city starting to change to suburb. I couldn't exactly say where the women's shelter was located. It's not a place I've ever looked at before, but I didn't think it was in the suburbs. How much longer till the shelter? I ask. My back presses deep into the leather backrest as I feel Dougie press on the accelerator. About 5 minutes later, Dougie turns onto a bumpy gravel road and pulls upside a gray box of a building. There's no windows or signs anywhere. Looks more like an old warehouse. This is the shelter? I ask, my eyes low, wanting to drift off. This doesn't look like a shelter. Oh, they don't advertise the shelters. They keep it looking nondescript. There's too many psycho boyfriends out there that would come for a woman if they ever put signs up. I shrug. Makes sense, I guess. I just want a place to rest for the night, wake up to a new day and a new life without Jimmy. Dougie acts the gentleman and opens up the passenger door, escorting me out. The cold air brings me back to life and makes me shiver. It also heightens my senses. We're in an industrial park as best I can tell, but it doesn't seem right. Something feels off. I have a feeling of dread come over me again, the same one I got standing there alone at the bus stop. At the door to the shelter, Dougie puts in a code and the door buzzes, indicating he can open it. Ladies first, Dougie says, holding the door open, motioning me inside. I don't move. This isn't right. Why does he have a code to enter the shelter? Why does someone who works for the bus company know this stuff? Dougie senses my apprehension. Listen, you're not the first. Lots of abused women end up standing alone at bus stops just like you. When I see them, I take them here. I step inside. Automatic fluorescent lights flicker overhead with a buzz upon my arrival. In front of me is another door, a caged security door. I look back at Dougie, giving him a concerned look. Can't be too safe, he says. Don't want those boyfriends getting through. I turn again, waiting for the security door to buzz, and I hear a click from behind me. The front door. Dougie closed it, but he didn't come inside. I'm here by myself, in this cage. My heart jumps. Icy panic runs down my spine. I look around, but it's blackness on the other side of the security door. The only light, the one above me, shining down on me, illuminating me. Only me. I pound my fists on the door I just entered. Dougie, what is this? Dougie! There's no answer. I crumble to the floor, holding my knees to my chest. too scared to even cry. I was so stupid to get in that SUV. I should have taken my chances out on the street, at that bus stop, fending off Johns looking for blowjobs. A loud buzz and the metal security door opens. The lights come on and there's Dougie standing on the other side of the door. I don't know how he got in there. There must be another door somewhere, a different entrance, maybe one that doesn't trap you into a box. I look down and I see it. He's holding a shotgun. "Welcome to the animal shelter," Dougie says with a smile as the rest of the lights come on. I see other women inside, all in cages, all bruised and looking like hell. Some have flesh that looks green and rotten and it smells putrid too. Dougie takes me by the upper arm, digging his fingers in tight and sticking the shotgun barrel in my ribs. "Walk," he commands. We walk past cage after cage, some women sleeping, some moaning, some slumped looking half dead. They're all in different states of decay. "What is this place?" I say, looking around. It's row after row of caged women, at least 20 of them in all as far as I can tell. "Your tax dollars at work," he says with a chuckle. Of course, the money goes through a few nonprofits first. It doesn't come directly from NIH. "I'm sorry to have misled you. I don't work for the bus company. I'm known as a sweeper. I sweep the streets, looking for ones like you that fit the profile of what we need. We call this place here the animal shelter. That's what it used to be once upon a time. Then it was turned into a lab where they did medical testing on animals, but those PETA folks found out and raised holy hell. Now, well, what you have here is a gain-of-function research facility." A woman in a cage lets out a sick moan as we walk by. I look down at her and see her face covered with sores dripping with pus. She stinks of rot, makes me want to vomit. "This is where the research occurs," Dougie says. "The human trials. Almost had the lid blown off this place when that pesky senator started asking those questions at the hearing. But they deflected it well. They talked about China, Wuhan. It's all a red herring. Everybody's worried about what's happening over there. They don't realize what's happening right under their nose." Dougie puts up a hand. "Stop." In front of us is an open cage. Dougie pushes me in just like Jimmy pushed me out of the car. I trip and fall to the ground. Dougie locks the cage door behind me. I scream and scream until my throat hurts, but it doesn't make any difference. Dougie ignores me as he walks away. The only thing my screaming does is increase the moaning from the rotten women around me. The lights go out and I'm plunged into sensory-depriving darkness. I cry myself to sleep with thoughts of how I got myself into a mess that's worse than anything that ever happened with Jimmy. There's no sense of time in this place, no natural light to indicate day or night. Dougie or whoever runs this place controls the overhead lighting. I don't know how long I've been out. I must have fallen asleep at some point when I was crying and shaking in the corner of my cage, curled up, trying to make myself small. My body's stiff and my bones crack when I stretch. The overhead lights are dim at the moment. It's quiet in the warehouse, no moaning. There's an industrial smell that permeates this place, part bleach, part hospital, part sawdust, and rotting. Nothing can cover up the stench of decaying flesh and unattended wounds. I hear a buzzer from a few cages over. I see a man in a lab coat. It's not Dougie, pulling out a woman. She doesn't fight or struggle at all. She's calm and docile, following orders. I don't know how long she's been here, but she's in better shape than a lot of the people. I'm assuming she's new, like me. She's still wearing street clothes, not a gown like the others. Research, that's all we are, lab rats. I've read about abductions and all that, even sex trafficking. There's so much nasty stuff out there, but I would have never imagined human experiments. Not on U.S. soil anyways. What did Dougie call it? Gain of function research? I don't know what that is, but judging how I was taken off the streets, I can tell you what they're doing isn't legal, and it's making these women sick, some worse than others. After the man in the lab coat leaves, I try to rouse the woman in the cage next to me, the one with the pus dripping out of the sores on her face, the one who was moaning last night or yesterday or whatever time it was that I arrived. "What's going on here?" I whisper. "What is this place? What are they doing to us?" The woman stares off into space, unresponsive. Not even a moan from her. The same man in the lab coat comes back into the cages, this time pushing a cart filled with trays. Breakfast, or maybe it's lunch or dinner. It's food. The man drops off my tray of food through a slot in the cage. If it didn't feel like prison before, it certainly does now. As he slides my tray in, the pocket of his lab coat vibrates, startling him. He's getting a phone call. The man quickly answers, says a couple of yeses like he's taking orders, and hangs up before continuing to deliver food to other cages. On my tray there's a piece of bologna or Spam or some mystery meat. There's also a piece of bread and something that looks like it's maybe soup or dirty dishwater. It's all nasty looking, but I'm starving, so I eat it all. "Not hungry, huh?" I say to the lifeless woman in the cage to my right. Maybe she's dying of boredom. The shock of being captive is starting to wear off. I can't even pace the cage, it's so small. I can stand or I can sit. That's about it. There's not even a cot to lay in. Dougie says it used to be an animal shelter. That seems about right, though. I'm sure the dogs in the shelter had more space than we have. The man in the lab coat comes back, taking my empty tray and telling me to come with him. I think about fighting, but I see he's got something holstered to his belt. A stun gun, maybe? Whatever it is, I don't want to find out. As I walk past the cages, I notice there's only women locked up. I try to count the cages as I walk past. There's 5 rows. I think there's 5 across too, but the lighting isn't so great, so maybe there's more. Most of the cages are filled, but a few are empty. The one I saw the lady in the street close in earlier is still vacant. I hear screaming coming from the direction we're walking. It sounds muffled, but it still scares me. The man in the lab coat takes me through a set of double doors and into what looks like a doctor's office, though it's more sterile. There's a metal examination table bolted to the floor, and he tells me to sit on it and wait. Then he leaves me alone. After a few minutes, a voice comes from the overhead speakers, startling me. "Height and weight." I look around confused, trying to figure out where the voice is coming from. "Height and weight." "Fuck you! Get me out of here!" I snap. I've played nice. I've sat in their cage. I've eaten their slop. I could have yelled and fought, but I didn't. But I'm not going to go out like this. They're not going to make me like they made the others, like the woman in the cage sitting next to me with that oozing pus coming out of her face. "You can't kidnap people like this. What is this place? Get me out of here!" There's silence. "Height and weight." "Get me out of here!" The door buzzes and 2 burly men in scrubs rush in, grabbing me at my armpits and slamming the back of my head against the wall. Hard enough that I see stars. One man takes a syringe out of his pocket and stabs me with it, pushing the plunger down, pushing whatever liquid inside of it into my bloodstream. The world fades to black. I wake up in my cage. The woman in the cage to my left with the pus face is still there. There's another one to my right. She's lifeless. The woman they took away earlier, the one in the street clothes, she's now back, but wearing a gown, as am I. My face is itchy too, like really itchy. I scratch it, but the itches remain. And my flesh, it feels tingly and cold. I don't know if it's the loose gown I'm wearing, the temperature in the warehouse, or something that they put into me. The overhead lights are brighter now too. Maybe it's daytime or a reaction to their shot. I look around and as best I can tell, there's no one watching us. I don't see any of those men in lab coats or the burly men that slam my head against the wall. It's just women in cages in various states of decay. Most look too doped up to move. There's a few moans, though, and they sound more dog-like than human. "Hey!" I quietly shout across the cages, trying to get the attention of the one I saw in street clothes earlier. Unlike the others, she seems coherent. At least, she's standing up in her cage. That's more than I can say for the others. She's hugging her body, looking cold, just like me. "Hey, you standing!" She looks my way. "Yeah, you! I'm Jasmine! What's your name?" She looks nervous, unsure she should answer. I know the feeling. It was the same one I had with Dougie when he first approached me in the SUV. I wonder if he got her too, if he picked her up from a bus stop just like me. I wondered if she had an abusive drunk boyfriend. "I'm from Fort Washington," I say, trying to reassure her that I mean no harm, that I'm a victim just like her. She looks around, checking if the coast is clear before answering. "I'm Brenda, from Springfield." "Do you know what they're doing to us?" There's moaning from the cages around Brenda that makes her shudder. She looks around again, and then says, "I saw men in uniforms. Military, I think. I don't know." Military? Could it be? I haven't seen these uniforms, only men in lab coats and burly men in scrubs. But I guess military is as good a guess as any. They've done all sorts of experiments on people, I suppose, and they do have experience with torture. Maybe it is military. "They're doing experiments on us," Brenda continues. "I know that for sure. They've only started with me, given me one injection so far, but I can feel it working through my system. My skin, it feels all weird. Look around. That's our future. It seems whatever they're doing gets progressively worse until your body can't take it anymore." Yes, experiments. That much was true. I could feel it too. The burning under my skin, the itching like I've been bitten by a million mosquitoes. We've each been given one shot, I think. She must have come in right before me. She was the only other one in street clothes I've seen in the cages. "Is there a way out?" I ask. "There's gotta be a way out." Brenda shook her head. "Not that I've seen." I haven't seen an exit either, but that doesn't mean there isn't some way to escape this hellhole. The people working here, they had to come in from somewhere. It wasn't the security fence entrance that they made us women come in either. When the door buzzed, when I walked inside, Dougie was already there, with a shotgun. He had to get in somewhere. There had to be an exit that we didn't see. The man with the food trays comes out of the blackness, pushing today's slop, stopping at each cage, sliding in the trays. I think it's about time to find out about that other exit. I look at Brenda and she's looking away now. I cough to get her attention. Both her and the lab coat man look my way. I stand there doing my best zombie impression. The lab coat man goes back to sliding trays of food into cages, but Brenda keeps looking my way. I motion my head towards the man and pantomime my actions. I point to her and mouth slowly, "You," loud. I pray that she can read lips. The lab coat man slides the tray into the cage of the pus-faced woman next to me. My heart's beating off the charts. I have one chance at this. If I screw it up, the itching all over my body will be the least of my worries. The man bends down to slide my tray into the slot. I nod to Brenda and mouth, "Now!" She lets out a scream and the lab coat man turns his head to look her direction. I lunge, grabbing the lapels of his lab coat, yanking as hard as I can, slamming his face into the metal bars of the cage. He's stunned and drops the tray. I pull him to the bars again with all my strength, and again. He goes down, unconscious. Moans come from the surrounding cages, like monkeys in a zoo when a new stimulus enters their environment. With the man out cold, I reach into his lab coat pocket. Thank God, his phone is still there. Hurry up, Brenda yells. There could be more coming. Keep watch, I tell her. If someone comes, start again with the yelling. Distract them. I glance at the phone's dial pad. Who do I call? Who? 911. I put the numbers in, but I pause before I hit connect. I can't dial 911. This is a government property. Dougie said so himself. The police won't come to a government property. They probably even have their own police here. And what would they do? They'd either shoot us or dope us up, make us comatose or rotting like the people next to me. Or what if it's military, like Brenda thinks? If the police won't help us, who do I call? I think, and the only number I know is Jimmy. That's the only number I have memorized. Fucking Jimmy. He's the last one I want to call, but I don't know any other number. Jimmy answers with a hello, his voice unsure of the number calling him. Jimmy, it's me, Jasmine. Listen. Jasmine? Well, why am I not surprised? You calling to apologize? You apologize or I'm hanging up. Jimmy, listen, I don't have much time. I'm hanging up. Jimmy, wait. I'm sorry, Jimmy. I really am. You better be, bitch. My balls still hurt from that kick you did. Jimmy, I don't have time for this. Listen, I was taken. After you dropped me off, I'm a hostage. I grabbed one of the guards' phones. I'm dead serious here, Jimmy. My life's in danger. There's others too. We're all locked in cages and can't get out. You gotta come save us. Bring guns, bring weapons. These guys are serious. I look down at Lab Coat Guy. He's starting to stir, slowly coming out of his unconscious state. Jasmine, what kind of nonsense you talking? What are you pulling here? Jimmy, please, I'm not lying. I'm trapped. I need to be rescued. I need you, Jimmy. You're my only hope. Jimmy laughs. Yeah, that's what I like to hear. You need me. I knew it. Jimmy, I'm sending you my location. Come quick, bring a gun. Jimmy, help me get out of here. I ping Jimmy the location using the phone's map app. I can see the lab coat man's eyes blink open, so I hang up the call with Jimmy. I throw the phone as far as I can in the other direction so the man doesn't see it in my hands when he wakes up. As he gets to his feet, the man rubs the lump on his head. Brenda starts screaming, alerting me to the presence of others. Well, now you've done it, the lab coat man says, climbing to his feet, still rubbing his head. I see two burly men take Brenda out of her cage. She's yelling the entire time. The other zoo animals in cages moan at the action. The lab coat man pulls out his stun gun and zaps me and I drop. When I come to, my skin is burning. It feels like lava flowing through my veins. My face is erupting too. Something oozing down my cheeks, white and milky. Pus. My body feels like it's disintegrating from the inside. Brenda still isn't back in her cage. I wonder what the orderlies did to her, whether she's getting pumped with the stuff that makes her insides boil like mine. I look at the cages next to me. The lifeless one on my right still hasn't moved. I'm pretty sure she's dead. I don't even see her gown moving with her breath. The pus-faced one on the left looks near death too. Her nose is rotting off. It looks like Swiss cheese with holes in it. The pain going through my body's unbearable. My whole insides are on fire. I feel like I'm being cooked alive from whatever they pumped into me. I know I'll likely end up like the rest soon, lifeless on the floor, pus dripping out of rotting holes in my body. I don't know how much longer I can take it. Sweat's pouring down my face and I feel fluish. I'm weak. I'm fading. Outside I hear something. Tires screeching. Commotion. 2 loud pops. On the other side of the warehouse I see a blinding brightness. Daylight pouring in through a doorway. Rectangular light of heaven. Jimmy! I scream. Drugged up women in cages moan as he runs towards me. Jimmy, watch out! From behind, those two muscular orderlies are making a beeline for Jimmy. He swings around and fires off 2 rounds, hitting them both, dropping them to the floor like the disintegrating women in the cages next to me. Get their keys! I yell. Jimmy does and frees me from my cage. Let's go, bitch, you're with me, he says, yanking my hand, pulling me out of the cage. Wait, I say, stopping him. Brenda! I need to find Brenda! My limbs are on fire with each step. My feet feel like they're walking on coals, but I press on. I lead Jimmy through a double door where the doctor's room was located. The lab coat guy's there with his stun gun out, waiting for us. Jimmy gets to jump on him and shoots him in the stomach. The lab coat guy's face contorts with pain. He spits out blood and drops to his knees, his stun gun going off, shooting the ceiling. As the blood pools around his body, I notice the patch on his coat. Safer Future Laboratories, it reads. It wasn't military after all, just some messed up government contractor. I race into the doctor's office looking for Brenda. What I see makes me gag in disgust. She's there, on the examination table, her body cut open like she had a zipper running down the middle. Her rib cage is held open with some sort of medical spreader device. It looks like the jaws of life, but for a human body. Her insides are on the outside, organs placed on a tray next to her body. We need to get the fuck out of here, bitch, Jimmy yells. Though my blood feels like it's on fire, Jimmy's comment makes it boil over. Jimmy, drunk and violent Jimmy. I look at Brenda. She probably had her own Jimmy. She probably came here with a black eye and bruised kidneys in a black SUV driven by Dougie, being told she was being taken to a shelter, somewhere safe from abusive men. Instead, other abusive men killed her under the guise of gain-of-function research, paid by the good old US of A. I have no idea what they were trying to accomplish or why. I just know that these were men of violence against women, like Jimmy. I pick up a syringe off the cart next to Brenda's corpse. It's filled with something green, the juice that probably killed Brenda. As Jimmy's eyes are scanning for others that may be coming, I plunge the needle deep into his neck. No, Jimmy, I need to get the fuck out of here, I say as I press down the plunger, filling him with the entire syringe of green killer. You can rot in hell with the rest of these abusive men. Enjoy your safer future. Jimmy drops his gun, then drops to his knees, screaming in pain. But whatever pain he's going through, he deserves more. I could grab his gun and put him out of his misery, but that would be too kind. He doesn't deserve kindness. None of these people do.